couldn't even imagine doing that, the amount of work. This was probably just for people to know.
I wouldn't even roll my camera for $50.
No, you wouldn't even have woke up, wouldn't have got out of bed. Yeah. Right. No, but exactly. That's so true. Yeah, find other upstarts or people who are just beginning and not take advantage, but, like really make a good value offer where you say, hey, there is value in doing this work for maybe a lower price than you're actually willing to. But I guess I should probably get back on track here.
Let's get to the good shit.
Okay, I apologize. So I see an ad. Okay, I see an ad placed by Gary Vaynerchuk on Instagram. I think it was Instagram. Yeah, and it was basically him saying, this was his quote. He said, "I know a lot of you are graduating from college this week, and you have no fucking clue what you're gonna do with your life." And this wasn't me. I wasn't in college. I actually did have like a good idea of what I wanted to do for income. I was working at a bank, working in the real estate department of the bank. We were working with pretty big accounts that were going into foreclosure. I actually did have like my life pretty spelled out. But I remember just seeing his ad and saying, oh, that's a good ad. I remember seeing fucking every ad on Instagram and saying none of these are working. Like these all suck. Like I cannot believe that ads work on Instagram. And then seeing his ad and being like, okay, that's a good ad. Like he at least got the age right. I was of the age where maybe I would have been graduating college. Right. Maybe I was liking things that would have made me of that market. And so it was at least a good ad. So I at least respected him, clicked on his ad, followed him, and literally just watched his content. After a while, I realized what he was doing and realized, holy shit, this guy is ahead of the game. He was an investor in Twitter early, investor in Facebook early, investor in Uber early, investor in Tumblr early, Venmo, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I realized like, if I wanted to get into music or tech, at least I was building websites, like I said at the time, I at least could look up to this guy. And that was about it at first. That was the first step that it took for him to plant the seed in my brain to be like, yeah, this guy knows what he's doing. And so I think after that, I start figuring out what D-Rock did, the guy who filmed everything. And then I got into this thought process, like we just discussed about filming, documenting, not creating, et cetera, et cetera. So I followed D-Rock. Then D-Rock says, hey, on Twitter, he's tweeting, hey, our team is looking for audio engineers because we think podcast space is going to be big in the next 10 years. This was in 2015 or 2016. Yeah, like just looking back on it now.
It's unbelievable how far ahead he is.
It was nuts. And so I realized, oh shit, that's right down my alley. I kind of like the marketing of this guy. He has a marketing agency. They had just moved, by the way. They had like a cool little office in New York. Now they had an office in Hudson Yards. Again, this is another it's spinning right now. Another thing where he was looking ahead. Hudson Yards is now the biggest real estate expansion in the world. Hudson Yards is right by Madison Square Garden. And so out of his corner office, you can see Madison Square Garden. Anyways, Hudson Yards, you guys will probably hear about it more and more as they build more. But anyways, it's right on the Hudson River. John Bellion, bury me in the Hudson River or whatever. Yeah, like that. Like it's a beautiful view. Like it's a great spot. Anyways,
if you say John Bellion's name one more time, I'm changing my song this week.
Yeah, thanks. We're gonna have to, God damn it, we're gonna have to bump his whole album. Yeah, he's a legend. So anyways, when they said they were looking for audio engineers, I was like, oh, this is dope. What's the task? And so I DM'd D-Rock and he goes, the task is take clips of Gary. He had been making content, like I was talking about, where he filmed a bunch of shit, a bunch of his rants. Like he was essentially like, think of rants that you think of in your head. They were filming everything. And so they filmed a bunch of his rants. And D-Rock said, his videographer said, take some of his rants, make a compilation in audio form. So in other words, I would listen to a bunch of these hour-long videos, find clips that were related to each other. Maybe they were relating to college or his opinion on marketing or his opinion on Twitter or the future of podcasts. And then make a compilation into one audio form with music in the background. So it's kind of powerful. Sometimes you see these on like motivational videos on YouTube where it's like Tony Robbins and he's like, he's like motivational. He's telling you about life and like, you've got time and, very motivational. And people compile a bunch of different clips from maybe one lecture he gives that's an hour and they make it into 12 minutes, 10 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever it is. And so I did this with Gary, tweeted it at D-Rock that day. I didn't wait. I was quick, scrappy. The music in the background I used was Saba, because Saba, the rapper, Chicago rapper, recently went to VaynerMedia, and I wanted to show them that I had attention to detail because I thought that was valuable. And so, the other thing was I noticed that Gary was scrappy. He wasn't about high production value. And so I knew I had to tweet it back at them that day. So I called in sick to the bank that day so I could spend the next 2 hours doing this little audio compilation that day, send it back to him within 2 hours. immediately got it. He said, yeah, we need you to fly to New York. When's the newest you can move to New York City? And I said, I have a job. Like, I will, just give me a second. And so that day I had to figure everything out. I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to get an apartment? Ended up getting an apartment in Bed-Stuy, which is a shit neighborhood in Brooklyn. Like, I mean, the first weekend I was there, I was at a bar, Octavia's, where we got locked down because there was a murder on Malcolm X Boulevard, like probably 200 yards away from where we were. And so the bartender, who's now one of my best friends, shout out Josty, John Michael Stacy, he was a bartender. He said, yo, just chill here. And I was literally just eating by myself because I didn't have any friends. I just moved to New York City. I was in Bed-Stuy. Like, you know, I was the only white kid on the bus, you know, when I would like, you know, take public transport. But Josty was like, yeah, just stay inside. When the news just reported that there was a murder like right down the block on this boulevard. And so I stayed at Octavia's that night. Anyways, I have a lot more to the story, but that's the general gist, was that I just was obsessed with you know, getting a gig, you know, and I called in sick, you know, I took risks, and I don't know. I'd recommend it to anyone. Like, if you really want something, you got to be a little bit crazy. You got to be a little psycho.
lot of you motherfuckers will say you want shit, but won't even call into work.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Sometimes you gotta. Sometimes, you know, not
a lot of you motherfuckers will say you want shit, but won't get up early or stay up late.
That's right.
A lot of you motherfuckers will say you want shit, but will spend the money on a new pair of shoes before you buy new equipment.
That's right.
A lot of you motherfuckers will say that you want it, but would rather go meet a bitch than stay home.
Yep. Bitches can wait. Bitches will be there.
Priorities.
That's right.